Alright, so I've been using the iPhone 11 Pro Max for well over a year now, and today is my 1 year later review of the iPhone 11 Pro Max, so let's get into it. Now, let's talk design. You may know this already if you've watched any of my previous videos on phones. I prefer larger phones. They're much more comfortable for me to hold because I have larger hands. But anyways, this is a big boy here. This is a pretty tall phone. Actually, it's a two-hands phone for most people. You have that 6.5-inch OLED display. It just looks so beautiful despite that notch at the top there. It has that very premium look with that steel outer band and that matte finish on the back there. You also get that triple lens camera module, recognizable from like a mile away. Up until today, I still love that midnight green tag to this form factor here. Now, as far as design goes, I'll just say that this is perfect for me. Now, let's go ahead and talk user experience or performance one. And before we do so, please take just 1 second to hit both the like, the subscribe button there. It's a huge boost to the channel, and I truly appreciate your support here. Here goes a major salute for that. All right, so user experience. This has been my phone to use mostly for friends and family and social media, and it has and continues to handle that and more, just like a champ, right? That 813 Bionic chip continues to perform pretty nicely, although nowadays I'm starting to notice some very subtle changes, specific to some of the apps that are open in the background. And we might call this more of an iOS issue because iOS seems to kill some of the apps that you're not using, some of the apps that are dormant in the background. Now, I could be wrong, but I think it wouldn't be happening at all, or it would be happening less if this phone just had a little bit more RAM. And as you can see here, every now and then when I go back to the apps that I have in the back, I have to reload them. As you can see in this example here, they're either killed or they just show this plain white here. Now, don't get me wrong, 4 gigs of RAM may not be as small, especially for Apple, given the way they do RAM management. It may not be as small as, it may appear, but I still think it's pretty tight, especially if you compare to other flagship phones that have that standard 8 or 12 gigs of RAM and so forth. So this part of the performance has been suffering a little lately. Other than that, the phone still handles everything you throw at it like butter. You may know this already again. The overall Apple ecosystem is very stable, and a device like this one actually just blends in and synchronizes pretty well with it. It becomes almost boring, right? Because it does pretty much everything it's supposed to do in that platform. It just does it right, at least until it starts aging. So it is essentially a consumer phone for people who just look for stability. So as far as performance goes, it is still incredibly fast and snappy. Another gripe that I have with this phone is because I like to multitask on my devices, whether it be a phone or a tablet, but I'm just not able to do that here. And it's actually no fault of the phone itself. Not at all. The phone can definitely handle some good level of multitasking if Apple could just allow it. And that, of course, affects my user experience, right? But in my case, there's really nothing to cry about because I do have other devices that I can use to multitask, that I actually do use to multitask. But anyways, let's go ahead and switch over here to another user experience here, but specific to features, right? Or usability, if I could call it that way. And we are going to talk about Face ID. Now, that was great while it lasted, right? And I don't want to go into the details, but in these times, Face ID has become more of an annoyance when you are outside, obviously, when you are inside, or if you're not wearing, you're not covering your face, that's definitely another situation. But when you are outside, let's say you're in a store and you try to unlock that phone, oh man, it is not fun. So user experience in terms of features, or that specific feature just hasn't been fun. And that's not because Face ID is broken. It's just because of circumstances, but it is what it is. Anyways, next here is this very nice Super Retina display, which does pretty well in the sun. Watching movies or playing games on the screen, they actually look really nice. You have this crazy loud speaker also with great audio quality coming out of it. Another thing I want to highlight here again as far as usability is navigating social media apps. Things like Twitter, Instagram, in my experience, are way better on the iPhone than they are on Android. Again, you might say it is more of an iOS thing, but it fits very well in this iPhone. Another feature to highlight here is the fact that it's IP68 certified. Now, I did drop my phone in water just for like a quick second. It wasn't even really deep and nothing happened to it. So that's also something really positive about this phone. It's that it's water resistant. We also do have AirDrop as another nice feature to have here. Now, granted, many of the features or anything feature related are kind of embedded in the Apple ecosystem, but it's good to highlight how well it works with this phone. Now let's talk battery. It has been fantastic since the beginning, especially coupled with that A13 chipset, which is very energy efficient. The 11 Pro Max was offering one of the best battery life you could get on the phone when it first came out. A year later, obviously it's not what it used to be, but my battery health is at about 95%. And of course, this is subjective because some people have it at about 92% or 90% or even 85%. But I'm still sitting at about 95 with an average of almost 5 hours, as you can see here for today. Although my average this week has been about 4.5 to 4 hours and 40 minutes SOT, which I think is still pretty good. Again, I really want to highlight the fact that this is very subjective, right? So it's truly going to depend on your habits, the way you use your phone, whether you're a power user, whether you just generally keep your phone on standby mode, which, by the way, standby mode is kind of a killer on this phone. It will not die if you don't use it. But anyway, so it all depends on that, right? What I do to charge my phone is a combination of both fast charge, but generally I try not to use fast charge that much. I generally will stick to just a 5 watt and just charge that overnight. And that's how I'm able to make sure that the battery doesn't degrade too fast. And case in point, as you can see, overall the battery is kind of aging pretty gracefully here. Now, camera. Even though I'm not the type to snap pictures every second, my iPhone 11 Pro Max here is generally my go-to phone when it comes down to taking pictures or videos. Apple did a great job improving the camera on this phone, and I think it still performs very well. In my experience, the camera is still delivering nice picture quality with great dynamic range. Color accuracy on photos is still top-notch with the least amount of overprocessing, even though you can find better cameras today on newer phones. This one still does perform very well, even under low light as it did at the beginning, and it has good camera stability. Now, here's my take. The 11 Pro Max, or the iPhone 11 Pro Max, is still a great phone, even a year later. I've had my share of things that I don't like about it, but they are all kind of overshadowed by the good things that this phone has. 1 year later, it is still a solid phone, and I would actually even recommend to pick up a refurbished or even a gently used copy if you were to find it at a very good price. So in short, this phone is still a GOAT for me, and I hope that this video was informative and that it helps your purchasing decision. Please don't forget, of course, to like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to catch you in the comment section like I always do, and I'm also going to catch you in the next video, and up until then, stay safe out there.